Like being home in my body means kind of loving it as it is, but also like taking agency to make it my own, or to make it a place where I can stay and not feel sad all the time. My parents didn't talk to me really about genitalia at all or about how bodies are supposed to look like. A lot of people assume because I'm femme presenting and I'm a trans woman, then I like men, or I wanted to have bottom surgery because I wanted to have sex, but I'm asexual. I don't have really any interest in sex. I don't really have any interest in having relationships with people like that. I had bottom surgery because I needed to have my body feel like it was mine. It's like the first month I was dilating, I had to dilate 4 times a day, and it was like the worst thing. I hated doing it. And I always was I'd always have a panic attack right before I dilate. And I'd usually have to find a way to intoxicate myself in some way. And it was really weird because I was really happy with what I had, but I still getting near that part of my body was just really scary for me. And I realized, I think about a month later, that even though I had had surgery and even though I logically knew that my arrangement had been changed and that was corrected, I still had like this post trauma that was carried in my up here in my brain that affects directly with how I can deal with that particular area of my body. A few days after surgery, or like it's like 10 days after surgery, I had this weird feeling when I was walking in the world that I was in a Trader Joe's, and I felt like I was now somehow connected to all my sisters who were trans, and I was now connected to cis women in a way that I had never been before. Yeah, it's just strange now. I mean, life goes on. I don't feel like it's, happily ever after. Since surgery, I have had massive anxiety. I mean, I've always had anxiety with that particular area of my body, but it's been even more so. And I realized, I think about a month later, that even though I had had surgery and even though I logically knew that my arrangement had been changed and that was corrected, I still had like this post trauma that was carried in my up here in my brain that affects directly with how I can deal with that particular area of my body. So, and it still happens. I still deal with it. It's the same trauma that just kind of hangs out that eventually I think will fall a little wayside. It's gotten a lot better. Yeah, I like being in my body much more now. It feels way more like my own. I don't look at the mirror anymore. It's weird when I look at pictures of myself fresh from transitioning, like two, maybe a year or two in. And I remember at the time feeling so ugly and so gross. And now I look at those pictures and I'm like, I had no idea how pretty I was.